Another adventures game for you here. The cards from adventures on the board are Ranger, Giant, and Raise. The event is Ferry, which is an excellent event. Lowers the cost of an action pile by $2 for you only. It's an excellent event. And it costs only 3, so you can open with a ferry most of the time. I say most of the time, and I have a 5-2 open in here, so I can open with a ferry, but I really don't want to spend $5 on a ferry when I can buy an upgrade immediately. My initial thoughts looking at the board was there's Ranger and there's a way to build a draw engine with Ranger, so I wanted to try it out, see how that would work. Ranger works a bit differently to other draw cards. When your journey token is up, gives you no cards and just one buy. When your journey token is down and you play it, you get 5 cards and a plus buy. 5 cards is a lot of cards. The 5 cards and the plus buy reminds me of Tactician a bit. So here on my 5, I open with the upgrade. Open an upgrade I think is almost always a good idea. On my 2 here, I have 2 choices really between Haven and Raise. My opponent has 3 copper here and will go for a ferry. So ferry opening is usually very strong. You can buy ferry, put your token on some 5-cost pile usually, then on your next hand you have enough money to buy that 5-cost cards. So I mean any of these 5-cost cards is reasonable. Maybe not tribute, like if you put your ferry on Giant or Jester or upgrade, I think that would be reasonable. Upgrade would be the one I would choose, and my opponent also chooses the upgrade here. Back to my turn 2, I have a choice between Haven and Raise. I opt for the Raise here because I wanted a bit more trash in my deck. I wanted to be able to thin a bit more quickly. Here again I draw 5 copper, and well I have a choice here between these 5-cost cards really. My opponent opens with an upgrade via the ferry token. Here on the 5 I go for Jester. The Jester is a good card, and also I felt comfortable with the amount of trashing that I had already. Maybe the second upgrade was better, not too sure, but I have the Jester in my deck now, so it is what it is. My opponent gets another upgrade at a discounted price for him or her only. Here I have a choice between trashing copper or estate. I was hoping to draw into money here so I can put my ferry token on something. Instead, I opt to trash the estate into a silver. I have two silvers in my deck. One is Jester and one is an actual silver now, so I should be okay for money. I should be able to buy whatever I want to buy. And on 2 here I get another Raise. It's another card that trashes. So I have 3 cards that trash. I think that should be okay for the engine building here. Here my opponent does something that I missed. He's able to upgrade an estate into an upgrade because his ferry token is there. So I completely missed that, and my opponent capitalized by doing it. Here I play the upgrade first over the Raise. I thought about playing the Raise on the silver to maybe cycle a bit, find something more useful, but I couldn't think of anything that would be more useful than what I had here. So I just decided to trash the copper, play the Jester. Jester hits a copper, so I easily give my opponent that. Here on 4, I finally put my ferry token, and I don't want to put it on upgrade because I don't want to buy any more upgrades. Instead, I put it on mining village because I feel it is a pile that I will want a lot of action cards from. So my opponent here again goes for 2 upgrades. Upgrades an estate into upgrade and buys an upgrade. Here I buy my first Ranger, starting to get the engine parts assembled here. Again, my opponent now is heavily investing in these upgrades. See, one, two, three, four upgrades played here, and then one of them trashed an estate to gain another upgrade. So I'm not too sure at this point where my opponent is going with all these upgrades, but we'll see soon enough. Here I raise an estate, which is excellent. I get to see two cards, pick one of the two, put it in my hand, and one of them was an upgrade, so that's very good for me. Here I am considering between upgrading the copper and the silver. I can turn the silver into a ranger, but I choose to get rid of the copper just to keep getting thinner. I still have use for that silver, I think, and buy a mining village for only 2 coin. Power of Fairy. So my opponent now comes out with these upgrades, just getting rid of whatever leftover copper there is. I believe my opponent has no more estates, they've all been turned into upgrades. And now the upgrade decisions seem to be getting a bit more difficult for my opponent as the junk is removed from their deck. So here on 3, so you notice here also my opponent upgraded a upgrade and got a ranger. So upgrade cost 3 for him, so you have to get a 4 cost there. And they move their fairy token over to mining villages just like I did. Here I do not raise the estate because I don't want to trigger the shuffle with my jester out of it, plus I raise. So instead I just get rid of a copper, being thin, and play my jester, picking up a mining village, discounted mining village along the way here. So my opponent manages to play 5 upgrades here and buys nothing, gaining a harem along the way. So I think this is the idea with my opponent, to get many upgrades and then turn those upgrades into harems. Here I get draw from the ranger, so I draw nearly my whole deck here. My jester manages to copy an upgrade, which is quite good. So now I have a couple choices here. I can play this upgrade and upgrade something, estate, silver, or upgrade. Instead I opt to just turn the estate into a silver, because I am starting to run out of money at this point here. And then I upgrade a silver into a ranger. Now I chose here not to trash with the raises because I wanted the money. I had exactly $7 to buy another mining village and a jester. Now that I have a bit more money with the jester, I can see about trashing these coppers here. So my opponent is going with this upgrade thing, getting harems along the way. At this point I notice with the ranger that rarely I want to start my turn with my journey token face down. So here you see I have 2 range. I have a mining village and a ranger, which is a draw card. However, it still won't draw me any cards because my journey token is face up. I have to play 2 rangers to get the draw. Here my opponent seems to have made a misclick or some mistake, as they indicated in the chat, because the harem was trashed, and I presume that they didn't want to do that. On 2, my opponent picks up a mining village. So here I'm lucky to get 2 mining villages down, so I can play 1 ranger to flip the journey to another one to flip it back to draw cards. So at this point here, I have noticed that there are 2 cards on the board that flips journey tokens. One is ranger and the other is giant. So I can, somehow manipulate the journey token so that I'm always able to play giant for the more aggressive attack. So here my jester turns up 2 upgrades, which isn't great. Again, I choose not to trash these coppers here because I really need the money. And I buy a mining village and a ranger, which isn't the strongest thing ever. I was able to draw my deck. I didn't need any more draws, so maybe it should have been something like a harem or a gold, or maybe a giant at that point. So my opponent continues trashing with the upgrades. Here on this hand, I have a couple of choices. I can raise the upgrade to look for a mining village. I chose not to do that because then I would still have to get another mining village to get any draw out of this turn. My journey token is face up at the start of the turn, which is a bit more difficult to overcome. So instead of raising the upgrade, I choose to play upgrade, trash the copper. I draw a mining village, which is excellent, and I can use raise to trash itself, hoping to find a mining village, do find a mining village, get 2 rangers down to draw a bunch of cards, and now I can copy stuff with Jester, hopefully. Unfortunately, I hit an, not unfortunately, like it's very likely that I hit an upgrade out of my opponent's deck at this point. Again, here I have a couple choices. Choose to upgrade the raise at this point into a silver just for economy purposes, honestly. With 5 here now, I get the giant, which is another source of economy. And I get the giant now because I feel like now I'm able to adequately manipulate the journey token to make sure I get that giant for the stronger attack all the time. So my opponent comes up with 8 for province on the last turn here. Also, I was able to start my turn with the journey token face down, so that's very good. Here I play ranger to flip the token, then play giant to get 5 coins and the trashing ability. I play a ranger to flip back the journey token face down, so that my next turn I start with it face down. So if I see village ranger, it will automatically draw me cards. So things are looking okay here for me. I come up with $10 this turn, that giant contributing half of that money, and I go for mining village and province. I wasn't sure how many gains my opponent had. Maybe they could run out the harems through upgrades, and then the mining village pile is low, so I just decided to not fall too far behind on points at this point. However, now I check the trash and see that 8 upgrades are in there, and I have one of the remaining 2 upgrades, so my opponent can't pull any upgrade tricks into harems to empty that pile. So I feel a bit more safe knowing that 8 of the 10 upgrades are in the bin. Here my Jester now hits a couple harems, so it's okay. I guess I get to give my opponent a curse. And again I manipulate the journey token to make sure that the giant is played for the more powerful attack. And here I have $13, so I go for province and a couple villages just for some stability. I don't want to fall apart at this point in the game. My opponent plays a jester, manages to copy one of my mining villages. So the game is very close to being finished here. There's only one harem left and just a mining village left. And possibly last turn on that $13 hand, I should have gone for province touchy. However, I didn't think my opponent had any real ability to end the game. Like, there's no way for them to gain harems, and I don't think they have any rangers. It's been trashed through upgrades. So after doing a bit of calculation here, I decide that I can trash all these mining villages for money, and then go for the end of the game. I have enough plus buys through the rangers, and I have a gain potentially through Jester and also through the upgrade. So I get to land a couple more curses here with the Jesters, which is good points wise. So here I use Ranger to flip the journey token, and then instead of playing Giant, well, I upgrade the Giant into a Harem just to make my life a bit easier in terms of emptying piles. And with 22 and 5 buys, mining village, double province, double estate to finish the game. So thanks for watching. Feedback is welcome.